Welcome to episode 2 of Low Key Track. My name is DJ V, and on today's episode, we're going to be talking about one of my favorite albums from this year, and its Low Key Track, or the least streamed song on the album. That album, Chromakopia, from Tyler, the Creator. For those of you who don't know who Tyler, the Creator is, he's a rapper and producer originally from Hawthorne in Los Angeles, California. And he originally created Odd Future, which is a massive music collective featuring acclaimed artists like Earl Sweatshirt and Frank Ocean. He also created the Adult Swim show Loiter Squad with his Odd Future friends. And he has multiple acclaimed albums, including Flower Boy, Igor, Call Me If You Get Lost, and Chromakopia is the latest album to come out from him. I've seen a lot of buzz for this album online. I have seen tons of YouTube videos for it, including Tyler's performance of it at Camp Flog Gnaw, seeing all the really dope guest artists come out, like Schoolboy Q and Doechii, and also just seeing kind of the aesthetics and how it translates into a live show setting. I know he's got his tour going on. It's gonna happen in 2025. I'm hoping to grab a ticket. I'm hoping to go, but, let's see how that works out, depending on demand. That being said, let's just get into Chromakopia and its low-key track. So the low-key track on the album is I Hope You Find Your Way Home, which, as of this recording, is sitting at about 33 million streams, compared to Sticky, the most streamed song on the album, which is about 160 million streams. Both still incredibly successful songs, but there is a significant gap between those two. Why is that? Well, here's what I think. So with Chromakopia itself, the album is basically an amalgamation of the recent creative renaissance that Tyler, the Creator, has had. And it talks about things that are stemming from that creative renaissance, including his paranoia when it comes to fans, as well as just things that are going on in his personal life that he's brought to the forefront of this album. Really, really well done project, narrated by his mother. Her name is Bonita, and she is kind of the guiding voice throughout this project. She's basically telling Tyler, how proud she is, reminding him to continue to be his own light and continue to never extinguish that, and to just keep going, keep making good music, and just keep being the best person that you can be. And a lot of Chromakopia revolves around this, but also around how flawed human beings can be and the things that we do ultimately that affect us in our life. So, like I mentioned, paranoia stemming from crazy fans, but also there are moments where Tyler just talks about how he doesn't necessarily want to be tied down by monogamy, and he wants to continue making music, like on Darling I. He has your standard rap braggadocio songs like Sticky and Thought I Was Dead. And he also just talks about being your authentic self and removing a mask with the aptly named song Take Your Mask Off. And ultimately who the real Tyler, the Creator, is versus the persona that he puts up. So with I Hope You Find Your Way Home, the first thing that should be noted about this is that it is the last song of the album. Given how music is consumed nowadays, attention spans are shot. And I find it, at least for me personally, sometimes it gets more and more difficult to get through an album, something that a little bit concerning, considering I used to be able to just go through albums very, very easily. But I think this also speaks to probably a growing trend in the music industry that we've seen, which is that a lot of people, if once an album comes out, they'll go through it, they'll listen to what they like, and then they'll probably put it on a playlist. Perhaps it's just a few singles that are going to pop off on the album, and the rest of it just doesn't have the same level of success. Obviously, there are artists that have been around for a long time that have a long-established fan base that kind of buck this trend. Tyler, the Creator, is one of those artists. I believe this album has already reached 1 billion streams on Spotify, and it came out in late October. So October 28th is when it dropped, and it has already reached 1 billion streams. So a very, very impressive feat for a rap album in 2024. And it just goes to show, not only the loyalty of his fan base, but just how far they're willing to go to support him. with specifically with I Hope You Find Your Way Home, it's very possible that, again, people just probably listened to it once and didn't really care for it. And it just proceeded to put like Sticky, Thought I Was Dead. What are some of the other songs in this album that have incredibly high streams? Like Him and like Darling I. So those songs have definitely gotten more play, and this one just hasn't had that same level of success. I think another part of this that is why, not only in addition to just being the last song, is that it's a little bit, I would say, a little bit more experimental in nature compared to the rest of the album, in that it has like a bit of a longer instrumental at the end. It also has closing words from Bonita, as she reminds Tyler to be the best he can be his own shining light, and that he has her full support. It also doesn't necessarily have like a guest verse. It's just Tyler with some of these songs. So Sticky, for example, has features from Glorilla, Lil Wayne, and Sexy Red. Balloon has a feature from Doechii. Darling I has a feature from Tizo Touchdown. So there's a lot of crossover appeal with fans of those artists, and whereas this one is just Tyler. The other thing that I think is probably why the song is the low-key track is that it's really just a summary of the rest of the album. So from a production standpoint, I really enjoy it. I really enjoy like the synths and the keys that are here. It's very much reminiscent of like a Neptune's beat, a group that Tyler is very, very inspired by. And it just continues to combine a lot of elements that are present throughout this album and push the sound that Tyler, the Creator, has become known for in this current day and age. But ultimately, lyrically, yeah, it just summarizes a lot of what's already existed on this album in a much deeper way. So it talks about the fame and the paranoia, like Noid already goes into that into a lot of detail. The braggadocio, Sticky, and Thought I Was Dead sort of do that a little bit better. Hey Jane with the baby story and just not being ready for it. A lot of it is just, again, summarized in this, and this is sort of Tyler saying, well, here is what you listen to, and I'm just going to put it all up with a nice little bow on this song. Compared to his previous albums, Igor and Call Me If You Get Lost, this album is also a little bit all over the place as well. And this song is part of that creative process. Whereas I think with like Igor, for example, it has a much more driven story of this love triangle. And then Call Me If You Get Lost is a little bit more of like this braggadocio mixed with a bit of self-awareness as to who Tyler is as a rapper. This one is covering like 5 or 6 different subjects at once, right? So we've got paranoia, we've got we've got having a kid, we've got fame in general, we've got braggadocio. That's like 4 different subject matters just on this album. And it's not a super long it's not like a super long album either. It's a pretty standard length album. It's about 53 minutes and about 14 tracks, which is again pretty standard for an album, especially with hip-hop albums gearing more so towards like the longer side nowadays, so sort of inflate streaming numbers. Like I remember like Lil Baby and like Rod Wave had like 30 song albums, and it just became sort of a chore to listen to, especially that I also don't think that they're at the same level artistically that Tyler's at. So combine that with longer albums, and it just doesn't work for me personally. If it works for you, great. But for me, when it comes to what I want out of hip hop, especially in 2024, Chromakopia is definitely one of those examples. It is very personal, very vulnerable. The production goes into very interesting territories. It doesn't just rely on the same like sort of sped up or slowed down sample with the same 808 hi-hat drum pattern. It goes into very, very fun lanes. So like on Sticky, the like the horns, and then you have a little bit more slow jams as well, and like nice breezy drums on like Darling I. Thought I Was Dead, again, that like hype, like, you know, we have that military kind of march situation. There's a lot of cool experimentation on this album. But kind of summarizing up, I Hope You Find Your Way Home, What I like is that it is a very good finale. It is encapsulating everything that you just heard, and it's also creating this atmosphere and moment for when you want to listen to it again. The very end of the song has you hear the Chromakopia, and then like the ending keys that kind of go into Saint Chroma. So basically, if you're listening to the album on repeat, the end of Hope You Find Your Way Home goes into the beginning of Saint Chroma, the first song on the album. So I think that's a fun little Easter egg and tidbit for Tyler fans. So these are the reasons why I think I Hope You Find Your Way Home is the low-key track of Chromakopia. If this is your favorite song on the album, that is awesome, because for me, the purpose of music really just about building a deeper connection with yourself, and I just love the debate around it. Ultimately, it is all subjective at the end of the day, and I don't think anybody should be shamed or derided for appreciating this song over Sticky, over some of the other songs in the album. And, each song has its place. So thank you for listening to the second episode of Low Key Track. This is available wherever you get your podcasts, and you can follow me on social media at Low Key Track. I also DJ at the Fake DJV, so follow me over there for DJ content. And until next time, I'm that guy and that bitch.